Hello there everyone, welcome back. Here we are with a Dominaria Draft. Very excited to bring this to you today. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into a fairly mediocre pack from the looks of it. We've got a Hinterland Harbor as our rare, just a blue-green land, mediocre legendary blue, and a diligent excavator. This one mills a player for 2 whenever you cast a historic spell. For those unfamiliar, historic refers to artifacts, sagas, and legendaries. Tetsuko makes your little toughness 1 or less, can't be blocked. Actually, probably just going to start things off with a fungal infection. Very disappointing for a first pick, but there really wasn't a whole lot else to go on there, I don't think. Tetsuko maybe was something to consider, but we'll see what we can do with a first pick fungal infection into a pick 2, probably Vicious Offering or Settle the Score. The strongest cards here definitely appear to be black, so that's reassuring. Somebody took an uncommon, it seems. There's a Gideon's Reproach, Cloud Reader Sphinx, 3/4 for 5 flyer that scry 2 when it enters, and Saproling Migration. Either 2 mana, you get 2 Saprolings, or 6 mana, you get 4. Both pretty respectable. Sacrifice an artifact, draw a card on this guy. Another dual land, this time black and green. Probably going to take Settle the Score. Vicious Offering is nice in that it costs half as much. It's much easier to splash. And generally, 2/2 is pretty solid in the beginning. Later in the game, -5/-5 if you pay the kicker is very respectable. But Settle the Score, you don't really pay attention to the part about loyalty counters on a Planeswalker, but exiling any creature regardless of toughness is pretty important, I think. So might follow that up now with a Vicious Offering. One of these days we will draft a creature or something that's not removal, but today is likely not that day. Still trying to discern what is open. We have some promising leads here. Actually, these 4 cards here in different colors are all pretty powerful in their own right. I would probably take the Baloth Gorger, just a 4 mana 4/4, solid stats. If you draw this later in the game or you have things that accelerate you, 8 mana for a 7/7. Deep Freeze is the blue removal. It turns a creature into a 0/4 wall, essentially, but even better, disables all of its abilities. So if you had something that has a worthwhile persistent effect, even after turning it into a defender, could be worthwhile. Triumph of Gerard. I'm going to go and reserve the Vicious Offering, but keeping my eyes open on maybe black-green. There's some Saproling synergies there, or blue-black, some kind of control deck. Well, this is a decision time, I suppose. We have Gideon's Reproach in white. Pegasus Courser is so-so. We have Lich's Mastery, keeping with black. I want this card to be good so badly. I think this is my favorite card in the set. Lich, a throwback to the original Lich, all the way back in Alpha. My favorite card in the game. This one is hexproof, noticeably an upgrade. It does cost 6. Whenever you gain life, you draw that many cards. Whenever you lose life, you have to either exile a permanent you control, or a card in your hand or graveyard. And when Lich's Mastery leaves the battlefield, you lose. That is the only way that you can lose the game at that point. Opponents, if they somehow have a you win the game clause, like on Approach of the Second Sun, that still applies. You can lose to that in effect. I'm going to be safe, I think, and take Rona, Disciple of Gix. She's a 2/2 for 3. But when she enters, you can exile a historic card from your graveyard. You can cast any card exiled with her, and you can tap her and pay 4 to exile a card from your library. So she works very nicely with historics, artifact threats like Juggernauts and Thraxos, the rare Juggernaut, and legendary creatures like herself, among other things. But those are the kind of things you're looking to do. And she can always just generate you card advantage over the course of the game later by exiling random cards and sometimes getting to cast them. There's Caligo Skinwitch, who's a 1/3 for 2. You can pay 6, though, to staple a Mind Rot onto it. This lets you buy back instants and sorceries. I really want this fungal infection, but I think I'm interested in the Mirari Conjecture here. So this is nice in that it's blue. It's a historic card, Saga, so it works well with Rona to buy back. And this just seems like the value engine here that we're going to depend on. The way that sagas work is when they first enter the battlefield, and every turn thereafter, at the beginning of your first main phase, you put a counter on it. And whatever stage the counter is on, that is what you do. So when you first play this, you get to return an instant from your grave to hand. Stage 2, you get to return a sorcery. Stage 3, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that turn, you copy it. Obviously that works very nicely with Settle the Score, Vicious Offering, Fungal Infection, etc. So we'll be interested in trying this out. Now I'm going to take a Memorial to Folly. It's a cycle of lands that do stuff. They come into play tapped, but late game they're nice to have in play if you have nothing better to do. In this case, you can sacrifice this Memorial to return a creature from grave to hand, so the Grave Digger effect. There's the green one. Lets you dig 5 cards deep for a creature, put it into your hand. Very good. The Flame of Keld. When it first comes in, only 2 mana, you discard your hand. Next turn you draw 2 cards. Turn after that, you deal a bit of extra damage with red sources, whether they're creatures or instants or sorceries. Deal that much damage plus 2. I'm going to take the Deathbloom Thallid and be very happy about it. This is one of the stronger 3-drops, I think, and black particularly. 3/2 for 3 that has a death trigger. You get a 1/1 Sapperling token, so can't really complain about it. Pretty good value. There's a Caligo Skin Witch, which is a nice 2-drop that has some utility late in the game. There's also Opt, which lets us dig further and further into Rona and Mirari Conjecture, our removal if we need it. Also works nicely with the Conjecture, as we can buy it back and then we get to double cast it 2 turns later. Kind of interested for that reason. And the Skin Witch I think is very replaceable. We'll keep cutting out the blue, I think, and hopefully the people to our left get the signal. There's Diligent Excavator, 2 mana 1/3. Right now we have 2 historic cards, so we could mill our opponents a teeny tiny bit. Not really what we want to do. There's a 6 mana 5/5 Trampler, also historic, works with Rona, and a Thallid Omnivore, which can be pretty scary, as you can feed creatures to it to give it +2/+2, and if they happen to be Sapperlings, then you just incidentally gain some life. But if you have like 3 or 4 creatures out, especially Deathblooms that are kind of like 2 in 1, this guy can pack a punch, so interested in trying him out. There's a Sage who sacrifices artifacts to draw cards, a 1/1 for 1 when he dies, puts a counter on something, and a 2 mana 1/3 historic that untaps other artifacts. That's nice with things like Thraxos and I guess some of the like Power Stones or something that accelerates your mana. Doubt we're going to actually make use of that very often. Currently we have no other artifacts, and we're still not going to have one after this pick, I don't think, but never know. And if nothing else, he's a blocker. So there's Dub, Protector, Power Stone Shard, gives you mana for every other artifact you have as well, named Power Stone Shard. And Stronghold Confessor, which I think is what we're going to take. It's a 1/1 for 1 with Menace, but for 4 you get a 3/3 with Menace. So pretty decent if you just need a blocker. The emergency button kinda, you can play it and feed it to the Omnivore before you go to attack for lethal, and best case scenario you get to play it as a 3/3 with Menace sometimes. I'll take the Explorer over the Damping Sphere and the Excavation Elephant. Not too excited to play this guy, but probably better than a couple of uncastables, and someone can have a Healing Grace if they like it. Armored Explorer is just a 3/3 for 4, mills a player for 4. See if we can make some use out of that. Okay, well the best cards in this pack are certainly green. Spore Swarm is an instant speed, 4 mana to get 3 1/1 Sapperlings. The Steel Leaf Champion, very difficult to cast on turn 3 unless you are devoted very heavily to green with like Llanowar Elves or something like that, in which case you can actually cast this on turn 2, which is pretty gross. Just a 5/4 for 3 that can't be blocked by dinky things like Spore Swarm and Sapperling migrations. And there's also Mammoth Spider, which I like a lot. Basically does a nice job of holding off anything in the air, such as Urgoros, and lots of things on the ground while we're at it. Blessed Light, unconditional, exile a creature or enchantment, instant speed for 5, but unfortunately in white. Very strong with the Mirari Conjecture, I'm sure. We do kind of need ways to win, and Urgoros, not the best, but with all the removal we have, we can kind of guarantee that he's a 6-drop, but He flies, he hits a little hard, and he deals combat damage to a player. They discard a card at random, just like a throwback to the Hypnotic Spectre. And if they can't discard a card, you get to draw one, even better than Hypnotic Spectre. So when you play him on turn 6 or so, your opponent's probably nearing the end of their hand anyway. You can get their last card or two, and if they have none, you get to draw. So I think it's worth giving him a try. We have Knight of Grace, 2/2 for 2 with first strike and hexproof from black. Very nice. And just sometimes gets bigger. If you're playing against a player with black permanents, or you yourself are black and white, this goes very nicely. Pairs well with the Knight of Malice, his opposite. Again, throwbacks to classic cards, the Black Knight, White Knight. We have Thallid Soothsayer, 4 mana 2/3 with a little bonus. You can sack creatures, including itself, to draw cards. Works very nicely in the dedicated Saproling deck, which we unfortunately are not. There's a Cabal Paladin, an Artificer's Assistant, Yargle, I would be remiss not to mention, a 5 mana 9/3. It is a historic card as well, but even so, I think I'm just going to take the Deathbloom Thallid. Apologize, Yargle and Yargle fans, but same things that led me to pick the first one hold true still. Happily take it. We've got another Fungal Infection, also a Weight of Memory though. This is a nice way to refill 5 mana, draw 3, and then you get to put 3 of your own cards or your opponent's cards into the grave. Again, works very nicely with Mirari Conjecture. We can buy it back, draw lots of cards, we can recast it and double it, and we get to mill ourselves, probably just to put more stuff in the grave once we have the Conjecture. There's also Deep Freeze, which I'd be happy to get back, or Fungal Infection, but since those are probably 2 of the next best cards after Halar, the Fire Fletcher, probably not going to see them, but we'll see. Halar, 3 mana for a 3/3 Trampler that, when you kick spells, gets a little bit bigger and pings your opponent. I'll take the Weight of Memory, though. Okay, probably going to take a creature here. There's a Fungal Infection again. Also a Merfolk Trickster, 2/2 for 2 with Flash, pretty decent. And it enters the battlefield, it taps down a creature that an opponent controls, which then loses all of its abilities as well. So, kind of nice actually. You can make your opponent's flying creature lose flying and then block it, or before they even get to attack, you can just tap it down then. There's also Cloud Reader Sphinx, which is a nice finisher, 3/4 for 5 that flies and scries a bit. Fly and scry. We've got Sentinel of the Pearl Trident. You get to basically bounce or flicker a saga, I think is the main reason to use this. Exile any historic permanent. You can also use it to save one of your legendaries, I suppose, but it's nice being able to reset your Conjecture as well. I'm actually not really sure between those 3 which to take. I'm just going to take the Trickster for now. Unfortunately, it's the most prohibitive with mana, but it's a nice early play, and later it has some other applications. And I feel like that Sentinel is probably going to wheel if the Sphinx is taken. That Sentinel doesn't seem all that fantastic generally, but wouldn't be terrible in our deck, so we'll look forward to hopefully getting it back. There's Soul Salvage for more value, returning dead creatures to hand. I'm just going to take a Sphinx here, though. More finishers, flying, and all that. Oh, well, there's another Sentinel, but probably the best card here is the Fire Fist Adept. 5 mana, 3/3 wizard, relevant creature type that pings opponent's creatures based on how many wizards you have, counting himself. So he's at least guaranteed to, once he dies, pick off like a 1 toughness guy like this Overseer or Saproling, but you can deal a bit more with him too. There's the Sentinel, but I think I'm going to take a Academy Drake. It's a Wind Drake, 3 mana 2/2 flyer, but for 7 you can get a 4/4. Again, good at pretty much any stage of the game. Happily take that. Some decent red and green cards still in the pack, but I'm looking at Dark Bargain. Arcanists don't really need him, so Dark Bargain's probably the pick. There's also the Blood Tallow Candle, but we have plenty of removal as it is between the Settle, the Vicious, and the Fungal Infection. Can always have more. Can always have more, but I like Dark Bargain a lot in a color that doesn't generally get such a good rate, I think. This is almost like a black Glimmer of Genius for 4 mana, instant speed, of course. You get to look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 2 in hand, other into the grave, and then take 2 damage. So it's not free by any measure, but definitely very good, I think. Interesting. There's a Cabal Stronghold, very powerful with in a mono black deck. This can accelerate out to some pretty disgusting plays, but otherwise not really worth considering. It's not a huge downside either, though, as it doesn't come to play tapped, and it still taps for mana, unlike the original Cabal coffers. But there is another Rona as well, which is very reassuring. This made it all the way around. I think this is the 8th pick of the pack, so nobody else being in blue-black, I feel, is a pretty safe assumption. So I'll take the other, the Rona here. Happy to see a Deep Freeze also came back, but so did Syncopate, as well as some of the powerful green cards. But Syncopate's good on turn 2 if you're on the draw. It's a way to counter your opponent's 3-drop, like that Glintleaf Champion, or one of these Thalids, or something. It's good later in the game when you have a lot of mana open, especially if you're playing instant speed things, all this removal and Dark Bargain. You can hold up Syncopate as well. Probably just going to take the Deep Freeze, though. Freeze something down. Nice safe spell, especially if we have a lot of flyers. We don't really care about leaving behind a blocker. So, after that, there's a Power Stone, a Rescue, and a Cabal Paladin. None of these are particularly interesting. I'll just take the Paladin, I suppose. Befuddle, probably not going to play it, but I'll take it. Sentinel did come back. Don't know if we'll play him, but take him for now. And someone can have some fun red things. Another Sentinel. Almost certainly not playing 2. But we never know. We've got a lot of things to do on our opponent's turn. Sentinels, Dark Bargain, Trickster, Removal, maybe a Syncopate if we get one. But I feel pretty confident. We're probably the only blue-black player, possibly even one of the only blue players, so hoping to get rewarded for that in Pack 3. Let's see what we find. Just a bunch of evasive creatures with cheap, efficient removal, and that's a powerful deck by itself. Kind of interesting, Rona can exile any historic card in the grave, including herself, but I don't know why you'd care to do that. You can cast her, but not to a great effect. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. So we've got Eviscerate, the removal spell, at common. Just 4 mana, kill anything. It's basically like Settle the Score. This exiles, but it's harder to cast. Generally, Eviscerate's better. There's an Academy Journey Mage. Costs a little less. If you have Wizards out and just bounces something, 3/2 is respectable. But there's also Inter-Vess, the Lich Knight. We've seen a lot of really cool black rares between this and the actual Lich's something. Forget the name. Lich's Mastery, I think. Anyway, 4 mana, 4/5 Menace is already good, and you'd be happy to play that. But for 10 mana, if you somehow get there, he can come into play with 8 2/2 menacing zombie buddies. That is a slam dunk pick. There's a Lingering Phantom here, 6 mana, 5/4, that sometimes you can rebuy it slowly if you have a lot of historic cards, but Inter-Vess all the way. Brother of Liliana Vess. Wow, and the hits keep coming. We've got the Juggernaut we were talking about earlier with Voltaic Servant, kind of. Can play offense and defense, but basically this is just offense. That's interesting, actually. Juggernaut goes well with Deep Freeze, I guess. You can turn something into a defender blue wall, which can't be blocked by the Juggernaut, or cannot block the Juggernaut. There's also Fungal Infection and another Settle the Score. And even a Skittering Surveyor. This card is, I don't think it's underrated. It's pretty strong. You can see it often. 3 mana, 1/2 that fixes your mana. Comes in, searches a land to play the following turn or that turn. So he doesn't ramp, but he makes sure you hit land drops, the kind you want, and leaves a body behind to sacrifice to like a Vicious Offering, and is historic to boot. So goes very nicely with Rona. But Settle the Score has to be the pick there, I feel. Happy to take that. Got On Sarah's Wings, which is a nice little enchantment. Turn something into a Sarah Angel that has lifelink as well. Very powerful. There's also Gideon's Reproach and Aven Sentry. So very happy we did not fall into the green, maybe red trap earlier in the draft. Seems like green is being very heavily drafted. Keldon Raider is still a respectable red card, but it seems like Esper, black, white, and blue are the way to go here. Another 5-drop in Windgrace Acolyte. Kind of goes nicely with the Mirari Conjecture, but we already have a glut of 5 drops and 3 power flyer. It does gain you a little bit of life. I suppose we could take that or another Voltaic Servant. Just take the Acolyte, I guess. Hopefully you don't have to play it, but we'll see. Jeez, tons of fungal infections. Happy to see that. There's a Final Parting, which is a Diabolic Tutor and an Entomb all in one. 5 mana. You get to tutor up 2 cards. 1 goes to hand, 1 goes to grave. Don't really think that's worth the 5 mana here. We're not rebuying anything except for with Conjecture, and we have better ways to do that anyway. There's another Acolyte and a Fungal Infection, which I'm going to take. Also a Zalfirin Void, kind of nice. Untapped, comes in, scry 1, colorless. But we've got a lot of double black, double blue. Can't really justify playing that. Also, a quick note about the Final Parting. The Sleep Now, brother, that is one gift I can give you. Flavor text. Liliana Vess to her brother, Josu Vess. Anyway, I'm going to take the second Fungal Infection. Be very happy about it. And I feel like this is a pretty solid deck so far. We have a couple cuts to make already. I'm not really happy with our early drops, but we've got removal, and we can catch up pretty quickly with Deathbloom Thalids and Josu and other such things. So I feel like we're all right here. There's another finisher here in Slyn Voda, the Rising Deep, an 8 mana 8/8, or for 10 mana you also get to bounce anything that's not a Merfolk, Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent. So I guess that works well with the 2 or 3 Merfolk we could have, and not much else. Academy Drake is a Drake, and somehow that gets bounced away as well from the ocean, but regardless. Chainer's Torment, another Saga, deals 2 damage, and you gain 2. Just a nice life point swing at stage 1 and 2, and then at stage 3 you get an XX Nightmare Horror token, X being half of your life, which you lose as well. So that's kind of tricky to use effectively. I'm just going to go and take the Fungal Infection, more removal, and happy to pick up a Caligo Skin Witch here. I think we need more early plays that are still effective late game, so happy to pick that up. More expensive, we've got a 5/5 Trampler, a 4/5 Hexproof, both at 6. Gideon's Reproach still here, surprisingly. Pretty good card. Happily going to pick up a Skin Witch. And yeah, another Deathbloom Thalid versus a Whisper. Both have their merits. I love the Thalid. Whisper is interesting. You get to sack 2 creatures to revive 1 from grave to battlefield. So if they kill your Ronas, your Urgoros, your Josu Vess, you can quickly buy them back. Kind of a nice little combo with the Josu Vess also. If somehow you get to 10 mana and you haven't won by kicking him the first time, you can sack him and one of his buddies 1 turn, get back something. And the following turn, sack 2 more of his buddies to get him back and recast him. Oh, excuse me. Can't do that, as it returns right to the battlefield, so you don't actually get to re-kick it anyway. So, ignore that. But Deathbloom Thalid, I'll take the third one happily. Don't think we're going to play the Candle, but I'll take it. If our opponent has a bunch of Sarah Angels or something, Lyra Dawnbringers that we cannot beat, then that's one way. Probably don't need the Servant, or what else can we cut? Don't really need the Omnivore, I don't think. We've got enough finishers as it is between Urgoros, Josu Vess, our flying things, Rona. Probably just going to outvalue our opponent most of the time. Take a Sage. Not a huge fan of the Explorer or the Windgrace Acolyte. Those are probably 2 of the next cuts to make. We're getting kind of low on creatures, however, which is a little uncertain. We got some very powerful ones, but gotta make sure we actually are able to draw them. I don't know if I need both Dark Bargain and Weight of Memory. Weight of Memory sounds great, but might be sideboardable, bringing against a slower deck like ours. Don't think we're going to need any of these, but take a dub. Why not? I think we might be able to cut the Weight of Memory for now. It's kind of nice, and then it makes our double blue a little more manageable. Merfolk Trickster is the only double blue that you kind of want to cast on curve. That doesn't even happen all the time anyway. So we're definitely skewed heavily towards black. Almost want to play just 18 lands or something for the Conjecture and Josu Vess. Rona. We have a lot of payoff cards late in the game. That's another reason I don't think we need Weight of Memory. This could be a deck right here. Take another Servant in case we need early blockers somehow. Our opponent drafts a monster aggro deck. If they do, though, we've got all these fungal infections, which are great, I think, at dealing with aggressive starts. It's nice 1-mana instant speed. You can use this to trade up with like a 2-drop, sometimes even a 3-drop, shrinking their creature down if it has 2 toughness, and then blocking with the 1/1 that you get is a pretty nice blowout. You can kill a Rona, Merfolk Trickster with it, and you can use it just to win combat by shrinking their guy down. Works well with things like Menace, the Josu Vess, or the Stronghold Confessor. So we've got some options here, I think. A removal, all of which we can buy back with the Conjecture. Pretty happy with the way this came out. I think we were definitely in the right colors. White seemed also fairly open. Didn't see a huge number of payoff cards for it. It was mostly just good cards like Gideon's Reproach and others, I think. We also have a Memorial to Folly, which is kind of nice. That's decent since we have fewer creatures than normal. We can buy them back with Memorial. I don't see us needing any of these other cards. Sentinel of the Pearl Trident is very nice at resetting a Conjecture or flickering Urgaros, Rona, Josu in response to removal. Something to consider, but I think we could do better. I like the way that things are now, so let's just see what the mana says. Okay, I like this. I think we can probably get away with 10-7 split. Again, we do have the double blue. We kind of want to early have blue for Opt and Deep Freeze and Rona, so I don't want to shirk our blue sources too heavily, and I'll just cut a swamp and replace it with a Memorial to Folly. And I think that's the deck. So happy with how it looks. We'll see how it actually performs though. Stay tuned, everybody. Thanks for watching. Round 1 coming up in just a moment. Match 1 on the play with a pretty very heavy hand. We've got a lot of removal that we can find, and then once we have Josu, Sentinel, Urgaros, this seems pretty difficult to lose. The fact that we're on the play, I'm going to take a risk and keep it, hope that we find one of our many Thalids, Soothsayers, I think, 3-drops, one of our removal spells, or earlier plays, and see what happens there. Start things off. Oh, I realized I probably should have started with the island, just in case we somehow we draw and want to play a Merfolk Trickster on turn 2. That is the only play that matters in terms of what land to play on turn 1. I don't think that's going to come up, but still probably correct to lead off with an island. Do apologize for that. Okay. Calico Skin Witch, which we could play right now. We're playing against the blue deck, so I don't think we're going to have to deploy this just yet, and we could next turn if need be. I think I'd rather hang on to this until we get to 6 and try to snipe our opponent's last 2 cards or something. Okay, mirror match. This is going to be probably a fairly long game, so I want to extract as much advantage as we can with the cards that we have. Opponent's got all the stops on our upkeep and draw steps, it seems. That's alright. But hand's kind of shaping up. Again, our opponent mirror match. It's going to be probably a slow, grindy game, so I think we will be rewarded for our kind of high-end keep there. See if our opponent's got a turn 3 creature to play. A Rona of their own, but with nothing. So they just want this in play so that they can start using their mana, I guess. Exiling cards and then casting them. Oh, if they attack us next turn walking into a fungal infection, that would be fantastic. Hopefully they have another 4-drop that they want to play, and they just wanted to get this into play for turn after that or something. I'll happily trade a fungal infection for a Rona, though. Yes, yes, tap the mana. For a wall, of all things. This is perfect. They attack. This is going to be disgusting. Yeah, this is insane. So we get to not only kill their threat, they spent their turn casting a wall that doesn't really do anything. This guy has menace, this guy flies. That was just about perfect. There's our trickster. I would love to play Josu for 10, but I think I just rather would get the threat in play, and I can blow our opponent out with the trickster. When they make this indestructible, I can take that away and kill it. They have to play another creature and try and double block it. So I think I'd rather just get the 4-power threat into play now. There's no guarantee we'll actually get to 10 mana. So, Deep Freeze, that's fine. Actually, I don't know if it stays legendary. In addition to its other colors and types. So I think it stays legendary and historic, therefore, which means we get to flicker it back with the Sentinel. So that's going to be nice. Okay, I could play out the Confessor. I could also play out the Sentinel while our opponent's kind of tapped low. I think I'd rather just wait and see what they do, though. Sentinel might actually be worth his weight here. And then next turn, if we draw a land, we can maybe Caligo. If they play like a land and have another spell, we can get their last 2 cards. Okay. Yes, I would like to use the ability. Oh, shoot. At the beginning of the next end step. That was my mistake. I could have gotten Josu out, or flickered him back at the end of the main phase. That's my mistake. Apologize, everyone. But in any case, we still have a 3/3. I'm going to try to cast Urgoros, start pressuring our opponent that way. We can Caligo next turn to get their last cards with him, and start drawing cards if our opponent has nothing. Maybe they have a Syncopate here. They do. Sadness, that's alright. We get Josu back now. So that was a mistake. I could have attacked for 4 here if I had done it a step sooner. Important to keep in mind. Okay, Snapper is it's okay, I guess. We do get their last cards now, but we're at kind of a stalemate until we get to start going off with Conjecture here, I think. I wish we still had Urgoros, that'd be insane. But take what we can. Taking an Eviscerate and a Sentinel, so that worked out nicely. Unfortunately, not going to be attacking past the Snapper anytime soon, and we don't have much to buy back with the Conjecture just yet. Cloud Reader Sphinx. Alright, probably going to try and get them with the Trickster here, but they do still get to scry, sadly. Bottom top. So they're drawing something next turn that they're happy with. Okay, I'll menace this guy out and keep up the Trickster to eat the Sphinx next turn with Josu, hopefully. See what they do. They're about to draw a card that they wanted. Yeah, so if I'd been playing correctly, we would have had Josu out a turn sooner. They'd be at 16. Maybe that would have changed how we played that one turn. Oh, okay, well, they're going to get our last 2 cards. That's unfortunate. We lose the Conjecture. But at the very least, I get to keep them from attacking us this turn. It's unfortunate. I would have loved to have eaten that Sphinx. Good beats, though. Lose our Conjecture. And turns out I would have rather have kept Josu Vess, maybe. If I could keep him from being discarded to Caligo. We're getting close to kicking him, actually. Ooh, settle the score is nice. So unfortunately this 4/5 is kind of making things difficult for us. Yeah, yuck. I'm just going to take out the Sphinx now before they draw more counter magic or something. And yeah, kind of looking for more removal for the wall, for the Caligo even mid-combat. This having hexproof is really obnoxious. Alright, don't care about that at all. This is where we draw our Rona and get back the Conjecture and win the game, I think. Yeah, still no attacks. even with the double menacers, Josu-Vess is not potent enough to get past that turtle. Top deck war is real. Okay, just give me a Rona. Oh. Unfortunate. I'm not going to play this yet. If I do draw Rona, I can still cast her, play my swamp, and replay the thing now, the Mirari Conjecture, which would be fantastic if I could find one. Come on, Rona. Dark Bargain, that'll suffice. I'm going to go ahead and do it now, I think. I might as well play out a land first in case there's... if it's a Syncopate for 6, I'm still not getting through, but in case I find... well, looks like I found some land. Unfortunate if I found a Rona. Probably would have held on to her, but I would very much like to get one into play quickly. That was an unfortunate bargain. Still no damage has been dealt with creatures this game. Settle the score on Josu. I have no way of sacrificing him. That's sad. That's okay. Each. Rona. Vicious Offering. So I can't shrink down the Snapper, unfortunately. I just really don't have any way of getting through. I think we gotta wait still. Save this for the next Cloud Reader Sphinx or something. Still looking to draw Rona so we can recast our Conjecture. So this is going to be a grind, though. Kind of want to keep... not really sure what the right thing to do is. We can keep our lands in case they have another Caligo Skin Witch or discard effect, but if we do finally find something like Rona, I want to have as much mana as possible so that we can use her ability and play whatever we find immediately. What do I give for Josu back in our hand now? We still have a Sphinx, we have Ronas, things like that. Okay, Academy Drake coming in big. I might just kill that now. Sure. Discarding a Witch. Rona. Okay. It's going to play out everything in our hand. If they have more discard effects, that's fine. Hopefully they don't have an Urgoros of their own. Okay, Rona, where are you? I've got 2 of you. Well, that'll buy back a Witch, maybe? Not really excited about that. Phantom, okay. Happy to deal with that if we can get a Settle the Score back. It's just a 5/4 for now. Alright, Rona. There we go, finally. So I'm going to play Rona, I'm going to exile that thing. I'm going to recast that thing. Oh, my opponent actually scooped. So that game was not over yet. It's unfortunate we didn't get to play it out. I would have returned an instant, either Dark Bargain or Vicious Offering. And the next turn I would have gotten back Settle the Score, probably. And then the turn after that, cast both of them, doubling both of their effects, just wiping our opponent's board except for the Snapper, and going off from there. But that didn't happen, so that is fine. We've got Rescue to return Josu-Vess to hand, I think actually could be relevant. Same with Caligo Skin Witch, and saving things like Urgoros from Settle the Score. What else have we got? We've got Acolyte, Weight of Memory sounds good, Sentinel sounds good here. I actually kind of like the Abomination. He's able to punch through a Snapper, the turtle thing. It's also Explorer. Not a whole lot else really. Candle, I guess. Things that we don't really need. I have a lot of stuff we don't really need. We can probably make do without a few of the, maybe one of these fungal infections. It was very nice against Rona there, but we just need more threats than our opponent has answers. Oh, this is tough, actually. I think we can do better than Candle. Oh, although you can buy that back, actually, with Rona, so I kind of like that. This is the grindiest of the grindy games. Trickster is nice for the flyers. Fungal Infection, I think, is just going to be too weak. We saw our opponent just mostly had flyers, hexproof things, and big things generally, so I think that gets the cut, and maybe even a Deathbloom Ballad. Can't really get past some of those things either. Ugh, our curve is getting monstrously high. Let's try cutting a Deathbloom. See if this is correct. Our opponent has just as dirtily a deck as we do. But I think we've got some of the Mirror Breakers and Josu Vess and double Rona. This hand seems passable. Okay, can use that to flicker Rona, so I don't really feel bad about playing her right away. Turn 3, and then turn 4 we just start using her as a draw engine. Opponent's playing 1/3s that make some things cheaper. That's perfectly fine. I think we might play the Rona, even though missing out on rebuying a historic card. Opponent has no black mana yet. Attacking with the 1/1. Or the 1/3. Trickster. Could play a Drake just to have a threat. We've got 2 Ronas, and this one must be answered, I think, because otherwise we get to just exile top card of the library and find spells that way. So let's get rid of the Syncopate now, I guess. And if we keep hitting lands, we've got Cloud Reader, Urgoros, lots of things. Opponent's still no black mana, but Weight of Memory, so now they probably do. There's a Conjecture. We've got things to do for the next few turns. I'm just going to play out the Drake now and start pressuring. Hopefully they don't have like a Sphinx of their own this turn. Oh, and they milled us, actually, and then they used Vicious Offering. That's fantastic, I think. Unfortunately, we didn't hit the land, but oh, that would have been so nice. Could have hit our own, settled the score, and maybe an instant shortly. Just going to play Josu Vess, I think, again. I don't think we're going to get to the point where we need the 10 mana. We've got all of our other threats in hand already. So if they don't Caligo Skin Witch us, that'd be nasty. And they don't have a settled... Well. Alright then. Land. Land. Oh, I want to play a Sphinx. Land for Sphinx. Set up my next 2 draws. Land. Nice. No Syncopate, please. Phew. Alright, land and a 6 mana 5/5 Death Toucher. We've got all the threats already. I think we can afford to keep a Feral Bomb. I think we're fine with that. Oh man, we'll be able to Mirari and bounce it or flicker it with the Sentinel. That could be exciting. I think I'll play Orgoros this turn. Uses our mana. We don't yet have an instant to buy back with the Conjecture anyway. And now if they deep freeze Urgoros, I can flicker him with the Sentinel. Dark Bargain is okay. It's not great for us, but we'll do. What I could do is Trickster the Sphinx so that they can't block. Hit him for 7 and get a card at random. Could also just play the Abomination here. Kind of want to just do that, I guess. Yeah. Play him out. See if our opponent has an answer to him. Next turn, he's going to start getting in there. find a land, we could have Trickster and one of these two 5s next turn. Deep Freeze, perfect. And a Rona, okay. That's satisfactory. And a land, even more so. So we're gonna, well, unfortunately I don't really get a whole lot of value, so I could wait until the end of the turn, Trickster this away. Nice that they didn't have anything to rebuy also with Rona, rather. Let's just attack with the A-bomb. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have counter spell. We'll get to reflicker rather, Urgoros, and then Trickster down to tap the Cloud Reader, and then hit him pretty hard while getting one of their cards out. If they allow us to. Still looking to draw more removal for Rona or the Sphinx, just to try and kill them quickly. They're down to 3 cards. And it would be very nice to find an instant also for the Conjecture to start doing its thing. Can't really justify playing it just yet if all it's going to do is rebuy a wait or settle the score. That's still good because we get to copy it, but I'm a man who loves his added value. Just cannot justify casting it without an instant to get back. We currently have the advantage here, I would say, especially if we can get this ice or this deep freeze off of Urgoros. They'll start to chump block with the Arcanist and maybe Rona soon enough. See if our opponent has anything to say about it. 4 cards in hand. Hopefully it's not Calico. Alright, well, let's try to flicker Urgoros first. That worked easily enough. And then Trickster tapping down the Sphinx. So we lose our Conjecture once again, but we can buy it back with Rona. Just like last time. And now we get to attack. Ooh, we get to do a lot actually. Get to attack with the 3/3 even? Yeah, sure, let's do that. Exile Rona, might as well. And whack our opponent real hard. So are they just dead? That's 7 damage in the air, so they have 6. They could double block the Trickster to kill it, but then they die, so they can't actually do that. So they gotta like chump block the Feral and then put a 1/3 in front of the Trickster here. And then we get a blink of an eye. Well, at least they didn't get to kick it. So they would have lost a card anyway, but now they could double block the Trickster and survive, but that seemed more likely to happen. We still have a 5/5 Death Toucher pounding on their door. Uh-oh. There's the Snapper. That's fine. Might as well attack with you two. So once again, if we tag with everything, then the logical block, I guess, they could chump the A-bomb, they could eat one of our 2, they could block the Sphinx. No, at that point they would, okay, so they could put Sphinx in front of Sentinel, chump here, put this guy here, we get 3 damage through. I don't really know if I care for that much. Unless they have a fungal infection, this is a pretty safe attack. And, well, fungal infection is fine. I'll either get to eat these 2, probably, or the Snapper. And either way, I'm happy, so I'm just going to attack. Oh, I shouldn't have attacked with the Sphinx, but I think it's fine. As long as they don't have a fungal infection as their last card, I don't really have a problem with this. Or Vicious Offering, it's the same thing either way. Vicious Offering would be nasty. They could sack this guy and kill our A-bomb. But this is technically lethal, so they're just going to bounce, chump. Oh, they want to trade. That's fine. I'll kill both of them. And replay you. Too bad I didn't have a fungal infection to finish off the Sphinx there, but still. They've got 2 cards in hand. Just a 5/4. Dark Bargain. I'll cast that looking for a Vicious Offering to win the game. Rona and Opt. He will do nicely as well. So I can Rona back just Mirari, but I can't cast it yet. I can still opt into a Vicious Offering. Meh. So they trade here, they take 3 damage, they go to 4, this could eat that, we could put them to 2, it doesn't make much sense. So we'll just attack with the Flyers and play our Rona, I think. They trade with Urgoros. Play out Rona. Oh, Urgoros is dead now, I can get him back, but let's try to live the dream and get back Mirari here. Two cards in hand. See what you got. Deep Freeze the Sphinx. That's not going to do it. Could probably just kill them. I could almost certainly just kill them here. So I could cast this to get back something, but I'm just going to play out the land and try to kill you by sacking you. Yes. Let's see if that's the game. Ugh. I might as well just cast this now, in case they have something. And we get back an instant. Could get back a Vicious Offering if they have a flash creature somehow. That sounds good to me. And that'll do it. Alright, so a slugfest, but in the end we prevailed with the superior card draw removal package, I guess, and threats. So, very, very fun match. On to the next one. Hello again, everybody. Here we are with a very solid hand, I think. Got 2 Deathbloom Ballads into Josu into Sentinel. Sentinel's been performing quite well when your opponent has removal like Deep Freeze and other things. You can save your legendary zombie knights. Right. Opponent mulligan to 6. Let's see what they can muster up. Fungal Infection likely going to be good here. Would like something to do on turn 2. Yeah, this is, I think, what we're ready for. If we find a fungal infection here, unfortunately did not, but even still, Deathbloom Thalids are great. Deals with anything your opponent's got, pretty much, and leaves a thing behind to deal with the next one. If they kill our Josu Vess, we get it back with Rona. Can flicker Rona or Josu with Sentinel. The Dark Bargain's not all that exciting, unfortunately, but yeah, show me a Fungal Bloom, or whatever it is, infection to kill the Glider, and then block another 2 toughness guy with the leftover Saproling here, and from there, gets pretty gross at that point. Taking 2 in the air, not too bad. Before this thing gets suited up with an enchantment of some kind, I'd like to find an answer to it. Cloud Reader will be a good blocker as well. I'm just going to use my mana effectively, play out Josu. They can tap him down at some point, and then I can flicker him with... Oh, never mind, because he doesn't come back until the beginning of the end step. Whatever. Just going to pass, though, in case they have Legendary. Don't want them to tap down Josu Vess and then get in for an extra 5 points. Still a decent life total. Not excited about using Dark Bargain, but do what we must. Just a 3/2, not even a wizard. Okay, a wizard to trigger the extra 2. I could start attacking here, but I'm gonna maybe wait just one more turn. If I find another land, I can play like Rona and Deathbloom. Oh wow, okay, here we go. On second thought, can we start attacking? So next turn I could get I can put the fungal on top and a Dark Bargain in the same turn, or just Deathbloom probably. I could settle the score turn after that. It's a little expensive though. Opponent's running out of stuff. I'm definitely keeping the fungal infection. Crazy as it is, I don't think we actually need to settle the score. Premium removal spell. Just a little too costly. I will wait one more turn before we begin our onslaught though. Drawing fungal infection. We could dark bargain into another land as well. Another glider, sure. Tap down our Sphinx probably. That's alright. Opponent has one card in hand, and I think we're going to be just fine. Can start actually attacking with Inter-Vess because he's guaranteed to kill 2 things, and I'll attack with the Sphinx as well. Replay the Thallid and pass. So this is a surprise blocker if we somehow lose both of our Death Blooms and the tokens that come with them, and it'll also get to kill a glider. Opponent's actually leaving back one for some reason. Can't block. Not sure what that's for. Just going to trade here. See what they've got. I'm worried about the +3/+3 in trample. I'm going to play into it though if they have it. It's unfortunate if they do. They did not. Alright, so now we've got 2 Saprolings to block the next thing. Keep attacking with impunity. Another Journey Mage. I like that. So that's very strange. They didn't attack with the glider and they traded off the Journey Mage when they had another one. It's very curious. I got a Trickster. I could Dark Bargain trying to find another island and still have the Trickster ready. Don't think I need to do that. I'm just going to play Rona here. So if they want to trade 2 creatures for Josu, I'm happy with that. And why not? Let's get the Death Bloom in there too. We're going to have a 2/2 and a 2/2 to block if need be. They've got to start blocking soon. Sure. Oops, keep you there. Kill you both. Just going to get Josu back. And still have Merfolk Trickster ready. Things are going pretty well, I would say. If they attack, I get to make the glider no longer glide and then trade a Saproling for it. I don't necessarily need to. I could just use this to try and kill them next turn by tapping down a blocker. Yeah, I'll just do that. They just play like a Keldon Raider. That is fine. Discard their last card, looking for like a Shiv and Fire, I think is the only way they can survive this turn. And even then they're in a lot of trouble. So they just drew a card, that is their last card, and they scoop. So we could have played the Trickster, tap that down, attack with everybody, that's 2/4, 7 damage guaranteed. More if we attack with the Saproling, so that was a good game. So we're against aggro. The Voltaic Servants might come in. Befuddle could be interesting. Explorer is just a good blocker. Windgrace gains us some life, but doesn't block all that well. I guess Thallid Omnivore can gain life using the Saprolings from fungal infections and Thallid tokens. Alright, what's too costly here? I think Urgaros is a little too expensive for not enough impact. Mirari is a little slow. Dark Bargain is a little suspect. Might be overreacting by all the stuff we're going to take out, the higher end things mostly, but I think we just win on the strength of our removal and Inter-Vess with Sphinx and Thallid beat down like we saw. Befuddle sounds fun. The Explorer is a pretty decent blocker, and Mill's not that important though. I'm bringing the Omnivore. I will bring in the Acolyte and maybe another Sentinel actually instead of the Acolyte. I like flashing in 3/3s against our opponent's 2/2s and flickering Ronas and Josus. Could maybe even take out a land without all the 6-drops. I think we're fine though. Alright, opponent, show us what you got. Well, we have a swamp on top. This is pretty fantastic. Got the fungal infection, the Deathbloom Thallid, and even a Befuddle to get us further, but if we don't find a swamp, we're in a bit of trouble. I still probably have a Befuddle on turn 3. Sure, it's risky, it's very risky, but don't really want to mulligan. Oh, okay, sometimes you just have it all. Fungal infection, I think, is going to be dynamite against our opponent. And Josu. Alright. Could play out the 1/1 Confessor, but we did shave a few of our win conditions, so I kind of want to save them for later, actually. Journey Mage can trade easily with fungal infection. Still going to play out the Thallid, though. Now if I draw another swamp next turn, having Thallid plus fungal, that'll be great. This fungal will do something at some point. It'll just kill a glider or whittle down something, so I'm happy to trade this off. Hopefully they don't suit him up too much. Okay, just Journey Mages, that's fine. So we played against the slowest of control decks, and now one of the fastest of aggro decks. But unfortunately our opponent doesn't seem to have the fastest draws. Just yet. A short sword. Ooh, okay, just like we drew it up. So we actually have a couple choices. We can befuddle this when they equip it and just kill it with a Saproling and a -1/-1 and a Saproling. Could also just do the original plan of Thallid and Fungal. We could play Josu, we could Stronghold Confessor. Just going to play out the Thallid and have an emergency. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and attack as well, because why not? Make sure I turn off the yield. If our opponent blocks, we just Fungal and kill it. But they seem to have seen right through our ploy. This still trades with that, even if they suit him up. Keldon Raider. Ooh, Icy Manipulator. Okay, so they're going to use that, tap down our guy, and swing for 3. That's perfectly acceptable. Or just equip, setting up for the next turn, maybe. Sure. I would have loved to have an Icy Manipulator in our deck. Probably just going to play Josu Voss here. Or Vess. Could get a 3/3 menace, could get a 4/5 menace. I really want to kick this at least once this draft. Don't know how likely that is though. I'm just going to get out the Confessor actually. Still kind of forces them to tap it down with the Manipulator. We're halfway there to Josu Vess. I doubt we get it, but between the Cloud Reader Sphinx and what we have on board, it's probably sufficient. Opponent's got quite a bit of land for an aggressive deck. Can't imagine they have much more action in hand. They have to use their Manipulator to tap down the Confessor. That's okay, we'll just trade damage with them then. We have a faster clock than they do. They play like gliders. They might have sided out the gliders because of fungal. I spoke too soon. Alright, so again, if we find a land, we get to go Cloud Reader, Fungal. Oh, they made him menacing. That's sad. Alright. Still going to do the original plan, attack with the 3/3s. They tap down something, I assume. Probably the Thallid, yep. Attack with you. And play a Sphinx. Sentinel, 2, Flicker, nothing yet. Academy Drake. We're at 6, 4 mana away from kicking in Josu Vess. I'm going to keep the Sentinel and bottom the Drake, I think. The Drake would have maybe allowed me to try to block this thing, but with the Icy Manipulator, that just seems difficult to do. I think I'd rather just delay it. Maybe find a Vicious Mockery, whatever it is, or another fungal infection. They're probably going to move the sword over. So yeah, at that point we need some hard removal. That's okay though. Tap down our Sphinx with their manipulator on our turn. We still get to hit them for quite a bit. See if they actually move the sword back. No, not yet. Put it on one of these guys instead. No, that's right. They want to save that, of course. So in that case, I get to attack with everything still and use the fungal infection to kill off these two knights, probably. Attack, attack, attack. We're just racing him down at this point. I'll probably fungal infection and play Josu-Vess. I'm trading for a knight, and I will infect this guy. Hit him for 3, kill some stuff, and play a very threatening familiar face. So we're still winning this race, especially with Befuddle. That's essentially a fog on the glider, almost. Wouldn't mind killing it, though. Vicious Mockery would be nice. Opponent is top decking, though. We have 10 power coming in with these guys. They can tap down Josu, but that's still a lot of damage. Keldon Raider would be obnoxious here. Courser's not that bad. Make it a 2-4. That's a little more annoying, actually. Might have to actually end up rebuying a Deathbloom Thallid or Confessor here. Tap down Josu-Vess. Attack with these two. They can eat the Thallid, but I get to punch through a little bit. And I can flicker Vess with the Sentinel to untap him if I wish. Yeah, this will be fine. 1 mana short of both. Unfortunate. That's okay. Do have to be concerned, actually. They do technically have lethal here. This attacks give this flying, but little do they know we have the Befuddle. Let's Befuddle you. Hopefully I don't have a way to get 4 power somehow. Interesting. Trickster, I like that a lot. Okay, I like that very much. We need to get them to lose stuff this turn, however. They tap down Josu, and they can trade with the Deathbloom. Attack with everybody. Sure. That was probably an unnecessary attack. I would have rather had the blocker, actually, because we're in the same boat as before. Oof, actually. I guess I have to... Actually, I'm just dead, aren't I? I can tap this down so it can't attack, but then there's the Courser issue. I can flicker Josu-Vess. That doesn't do a whole lot. Well, I'll do it now anyway. Because, yeah, this is going to fly that knight over. Unfortunate. I think we are going to lose by 1 life. I wonder if we missed the damage with one of our tokens at some point. This glider with the Menace and Icy Manipulator is likely what won the game, but yeah, if they attack with everything, we're out of here. Can't gain a life. I can tap this. I could have tapped down an attacker, but then I still die to the other 2. I could have waited until they do attack, made this no longer fly and Menace and killed it. Yeah, we lose. That is unfortunate. So, Flyer got us. Windgrace Acolyte could be worthwhile then. Not Not a whole lot else worth considering. I'll cut a Rona, I guess. Yeah, that was unfortunate. We just needed one more life ourselves, or one more damage to our opponent, or one of our settle the scores or vicious offerings. I think I bottomed to settle the score earlier. Can't remember now. Was that game 1? I think it was game 1. I did bottom an Academy Drake because I thought we were on the offense. But yeah, Icy Manipulator. Card is good. Again, we're in the boat where we need land, but I'm not going to cast this Trickster for a while. But if I find any fungal infections, if I find any land at all, I get a Thallid. 2 lands, and I've got Omnivore, Josu, and Settle the Score. There we go. One more island, and probably would be set there. We've got a lot of 5-drops that we don't want to draw just yet. And land. Alright. We have lucked out a bit on some of these 2 landers that we've kept. But mulliganing on the play against an aggressive deck feels bad. I'm going to save Settle the Score for after they put that 2/1 Menace effect on something, probably. Happily trade here if they offer it. And I'm actually keep the eternal question of whether or not to keep him or kick him. I'm going to keep the Omnivore. No, I'm getting aggressive. We've got removal in hands. We've got a tap down guy if we find an island. We're the aggressor here, I think. And just want to end the game before they get Icy Manipulators out and whatnot. Hopefully we end the game before we get to 10 mana. Josu Vess is just better than the Omnivore at this point. There's a Manipulator. See if they actually go for the attack or if they're going to hold it back for the Death Bloom. If they hold it back, I'll probably settle the score, hit them down to 10. Manipulator. Very annoying. I like this attack. I will play out the Omnivore. Okay. This makes it tricky, actually. They want to use the Manipulator on your best creature, but it's hard to say what that is. If they let the Omnivore through, I've got enough creatures to sack to it that I can make it lethal, just about. Because this counts as 2 creatures, essentially. Champion of the Flame, not concerned about you. Play a Short Sword? Sure, that's fine. Oh, this is great. If they go for the attack, we just win. Actually, exactly. If they use this 1 mana to equip the champion to make him a nice blocker, which is reasonable, or if they put it on the Trapper for some reason, okay, so no Manipulator. If they attack us with the Trapper, they just die. Yep, that'll do it. We get to hit them back for exactly 10 damage after removing their 1 blocker, and they have no mana left for Manipulator. We could also settle or Trickster. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm just going to do this. Eat that guy. Attack for lethal. Exactsies. Alright. So maybe a bit of an ambitious attack from our opponent. I think we were winning this most likely anyway, despite the Manipulator, just because of our board presence, and having the Trickster and the Settle the Score makes it very difficult for our opponent to leave back blockers, so they were in a tough spot either way. Moving on to the finals. This has been a very fun experience. Hope you've enjoyed watching. Stay tuned, everyone. Once again, been very fortunate in that regard. Unfortunately, I don't think we can keep this one. This one is significantly better. We've got all 4s. I really don't want to play the Confessor until he's kicked, which is unfortunate. Do we want another 4? Yeah, sure we do. So, assuming we find our 4th mana, source of mana, we have plays for days, but, oof. Okay, that's not so bad. They traded for our Confessor, so they see what we're playing, but they missed Josu, which is nice. And I guess I wish I'd played that, but there was no way to predict that was going to happen. And I'm not really keen on that card, so the fact that they're playing something like that is kind of nice, I guess. Ronas can get back Josu Vess or Urgoros if that's what they divest, or artifacts, so Rona is the natural counter to that, it seems, and we found our 4th mana, so we'll be off to the races in just a moment here. Deathbloom, Thallid, and Rona. Alright, so I kind of like playing Josu Vess. If they want to try to kill it somehow, we can get it back with Rona, but at the same time, I also like having Settle the Score to deal with the Thallid. I think I might just Dark Bargain here. Yeah, let's play Josu Vess. Opponent knows that we have drawn a island, I think. Whatever our 4th land was, and the Josu. They don't know about Rona yet. So if they have Eviscerate here, it's not that big of a deal, because we just get it back. Eventually. Knight of Malice. Not hexproof from us. The other one will be. Oh, gross. +1/+1, and it's a white permanent, so this guy is now 4 power. He's nasty. They do it again next turn, and then, yeah, target creature with the greatest power, so it has to go onto the knight. And then the turn after that, they get flying, first strike, and lifelink. So I think I want to save Settle the Score for dealing with the Knight of Malice. I wish I had a Vicious Mockery, or Vicious whatever that is, offering here. Because they can put both in front of Josu Vess. I could kill one of them. And then play Rona, have Josu ready. I think I just wait. And hold back the Deathbloom one more turn. They're going to put their thing on this, and then I can Settle the Score next turn. So I'm taking a hit here, but that's okay. In the end, Triumph is just going to dealt an extra little bit of damage, and maybe they'll attack with this guy next turn, so could be worse. Yargle. Oh dear. That guy is going to get flying, first strike, blah, 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 blah. Oh, one more mana I could have... Okay, well, it's only the greatest creature. Okay. So I'm going to use the Trickster. I'm actually going to attack here. And if they double block, whatever they pump with the Triumph of Gerard, I'm going to Trickster. So that's fine. And I kind of want to trade this off for Yargle, I guess, so that I may get it back with Rona, but that's too much to ask for. Again, I could Dark Bargain, hope to hit a Swamp. Oh, did I? I forgot to cast Dark Bargain last turn, didn't I? That is sadness. Making all the mistakes now, unfortunately. I'm going to hang on to this Rona for one more turn. And then Trickster down the Yargle, and maybe trade it off with the Knight or Deathbloom or something. I apologize for that. I should have Dark Bargained, gotten the Trickster, and looked at 2 more cards. And I'm going to take an extra chunk of damage here. Unfortunate. Oh, and I just realized that this now shrinks back down to a 4/4. So unless they have another white permanent, I'm making a lot of misplays, which I sincerely apologize for. Could have left back Josu. Now I'm going to take a huge hit here. So I'm doing my best to lose this game. I guess I'll actually trade off with the Thallid, Deathbloom, whatever he is. So I'm not taking all the damage, but I should have left back Josu. I should have Dark Bargained earlier. A lot of mistakes here have been made. What do we got here? A bomb. Well, there's a chance that we were losing anyway. I'm going to settle that guy, I think. Hold up another Merfolk Trickster. Because of course I have one. And if we end up losing, I feel pretty good about this matchup anyway. We have all the removal for the little things. That's unfortunate, losing Rona. So yeah, we would have found another land also last turn. We would have been able to play a 4, like settle the score and still have our other thing. Now this guy is back to being a 5/4 first striker, and now I can't Rona to buy back Josu-Vess. So this is likely over soon. Opponent has no cards left. But we have very little life left. Might as well bargain for something. Fungal infection to kill one, chump another. Calico. You could play that as a 1/3 also. Might as well keep playing, but we are very likely dead here. Play it out. Jeez, that Knight of Malice with the 2 counters on it got out of hand. I even drew the perfect counter to the final stage of the Triumph of Gerard, but it was not to be. Alright, so let's kill... I think it's more important. I'll have the Caligo stick around. I was going to just kill the Saproling, chump that, block this. I think I'd have to actually kill a Knight token if I have any chance here. I'm taking... Oh. I'd be dead anyway. Our opponent has something, Vicious Offering, so game over anyway. But yeah, I had to kill a Saproling and block another anyway. We were dead. Unfortunate. I kind of like Befuddle and Candle for those things that get out of hand. Candle also deals with the Death Touch guy. I kind of like Sentinel for rebuying some of our things and saving them from removal. Not a whole lot else to consider, really. What do I not like here? This Domaria Conjecture. I've been waiting and waiting to get the double cast off, and just hasn't happened yet, sadly. Alright, well, I don't really know what I want to take out here. I still like Fungal Infections because of the Knight. If I have a pair of them, I can kill that and have 2 things to kill other stuff. Kind of like everything, actually. Yeah, just keep it at... Oh, whoops, I put in something and forgot to take out something, so I'm playing with 41 cards, but... oh well. That is a keeper. Pair of Fungals, pair of Thalids. Can't complain about that. And even a Dark Bargain to refill if we just find the land. Which we sort of have. We've at least got enough for Thalids. Trickster's a good one too. I like it to counter a Knight of Malice or the Yard, whatever gets bigger by the Triumph of Gerard. And a Vicious Offering my Thallid. I'm happy with that, I think. A Thallid of their own and a swamp. I will go ahead and attack here and then play out our own Thallid. If they want to trade, I'll use a Fungal Infection. We've got 2. I could even use a Trickster to tap that guy down so they don't get a Thallid afterward, but that seems like a waste. So, short. Basically just cycling this to reduce this down to a 1/1. And now our Thallid is king of the board. I think that was better than using the Dark Bargain just yet. Get a sense of what our opponent has before we fire that off. Sergeant. Alright, so our opponent's stuck on mana. I can again attack and then use a Fungal Infection on this guy to keep my Thallid around. I'm going to start off with the bargain though. Ooh, okay. Well, Conjecture doesn't have a sorcery yet. But we know we've got a few of those. Urgaros, we can't cast anytime soon, but yeah. I think we're going to go for the late game. Between all this stuff we have in hand, I'm happy enough. I'll trade this off so that next turn we can start getting in there with our 2 Saprolings or something. If my opponent doesn't have a divest, I could take Trickster or Sentinel or Orgros. That I can still attack my Saprolings into and then use a Fungal Infection. I don't have anything historic to get back just yet, sadly. I need that 5th land. I'll attack with both and fungal the thing. Okay. So everything dies, I end up with a sapling at the end. I could have played Rona, but nothing to get back just yet. I'd rather save it for buying back something later, maybe. And I don't really want to use my turns to pay the 4, because we're definitely going to draw land right now. So, still no sorceries. Can use this, but not really do anything with it. Could use the Conjecture to get back an instant now. Miss out on the 2nd, but then flicker this with, yeah, let's do that. Just want to get this into play and start buying things back. So let's get Dark Bargain back to hand. Next turn I whiff, but before this goes off, I can flicker it with the Sentinel, get back a Fungal Infection, blah blah blah. So we're going for the long game here. Opponent's still stuck on 3. Usually want to find a way to punish an opponent that gets stuck on mana, but can't resist the urge to Conjecture here. And we have the late game, even when they draw out of this, which they seem to have done nicely. Urgoros will do a good job of holding those things off if I find a land this turn. Okay. So what I can do is I can, with this on the stack, flicker it. I have to do like on my upkeep. That seems okay. Alternatively, I could Dark Bargain this turn and Trickster something. That seems bad. So let's just go ahead and get Urgoros out and put us after your draw step. So after I draw a card before the main phase, I think that's when it triggers. I'll get to see what I draw at least. Okay. Find a way to kill that. Urgoros gets through. Yeah, so let's... Another Fungal Infection, that's nice too. Let us Sentinel and flicker the Conjecture. So we don't get back I should have considered that also. We happen to draw one. I was anticipating being able to buy back a fungal immediately, but I won't actually get this back until the next end step. But I'm not going to attack them anyway, so I think this is fine. So we will exile that. And I could attack with Urgoros and then use the Fungal Infection if they just block with the Sentry. Otherwise I can 2 for 2 them by trading a Fungal for one of those guys. And then I can just buy back Urgoros with Rona probably, so that's okay. I will attack with Urgoros. If they block with just the Sentry, I Fungal it. If they block with both, I kill both. Surprise, weren't expecting the 3rd Fungal Infection. And then this comes back, and I get back, I'll take the foily one, because why not? It's a weird game with these Fungal Infections. It's not the greatest card, but in this particular matchup, it's done its share, though. Now they only have the Courser. I can make something lose flying and tap it down if I really want to attack them with Urgoros. They still haven't divested us, which is nice. Again, I miss out on the sorcery, but I'll be able to rebuy the Conjecture with Rona anyway. Feral A-Bomb. So they're just gonna... Ooh, so I get to draw a card off of Urgoros if I use the Skin Witch now. And then next turn I can double cast Fungal and Dark Bargain. That seems okay. So let's get their last 2 cards. Opponent just has a fat 5/5 and a little flying thing. Got their Arvad the Cursed, Death Touch, Lifelink, pumps up legendaries, and a Soul Salvage. So that's like 3 creatures in 1 Caligo, essentially. Now I get to draw a card because they don't have anything in hand. Can cast anything in our deck. Happy to get a land even. Swamp, sure. This is turning out pretty nicely, I'd say. I can use the Trickster to get around Death Touch on the A-Bomb also. See what they do. Ooh, they're trying to race us down. Alright. So I can actually maybe just kill them pretty quickly. I can tap down something, I can double cast Infection to kill a knight. Okay. So that is gone. I could, with 8 mana, try to Dark Bargain into a Settle the Score, and then exile both of these. I get to Dark Bargain twice. That's a little risky, but, no. I will take that risk. Going to 4. Settle the Score, and I've already played a land, I believe. Unfortunately, I can't double opt as well. But if this goes the way I hope it does, we pretty much just win the game. Sure. Alright, Settle the Score on you. Alright, even if this doesn't work, just the fact I got to do it is good enough for me. Goodbye, goodbye. Oh god, if I had a Planeswalker out, I could have just stacked 4 counters on top of it. That's pretty funny. They could have like a Gideon's Reproach here. They could have Seal Away. If they kill it, I can get it back with Rona anyway. And could trade this for one of those. I'll wait until I can Fungal, kill the other one too. They may reproach me, or not. I'll just get the planes. Okay. So our opponent, I think, is just dead. We've got 4 power here. 3, 4, 5, 6. So not dead this moment, but we're very close. We did lose our Rona, sadly. But now we get to draw a card off of Urgoros. And I'm just going to kill as many of them as I can. Sure. We got at least 1 creature coming from the fungal infection here. And I get to replay all my other stuff. I think we will have this game momentarily, and we'll be on to game 3 of the finals. Very fun draft though already. Okay. Opponent takes a bunch of damage, we get to draw a card. So I kind of want to hang on to the Trickster just to be safe. Kind of want to play out a Confessor. And, oh, I could have held up mana for Opt as well. That's unfortunate. I could play Academy Drake, but we already have Lethal in the air with Urgoros. Don't think it's going to make a big difference. Alright. So on to game 3. We saw more of the same. Still keeping those divests. It's more annoying than I thought it would be. Rescue to pull something back from being Vicious Offering? That can't be right. Yeah, I think I'm happy with the way things are. What did I add earlier? I don't think I've been playing with 41 cards this whole draft, have I? Oh, the second Sentinel, that's what it was. Sentinel was fine, but all he did was rebuy the Mirari Conjecture. I think I don't need a second one. Urgaros does a nice job of blocking some flyers, especially with fungal backup. We'll just try it as it is. Don't want to shave a land with all these 5-6 drops. Okay. Removal and a creature. So as long as we get to cast the Stallid before they get to divest us, I think he might be able to hold the ground long enough. We've got an answer to Yargle, got Dark Bargain to refill. We're in a good place. They didn't have the turn 1 divest. They put something on top, and it wasn't divest, so that's decent to know. Still nothing. Okay. Play out a Thallid, and they can Vicious Offering it if they want to. Next turn I got Dark Bargain. Just an even. Could turn that into a 0/4 wall whenever I want. Unfortunately then I can't really attack anymore. So I'll wait. Just going to draw cards with Dark Bargain here. If they have Yargle or some other 5-drop that we're kind of afraid of, I'll do with him too. Deathbloom in a land. Not the land we wanted, sadly. There's one. Yeah, sure. Go to combat. This turn I get to play maybe up to 3 spells. Thallid, Opt, and Fungal something. Alright, let's just start with the Opt, I guess. Don't need another swamp. If it's like a Josu Vest or something, I would probably have drawn it. Alright, we're still vulnerable to a divest momentarily, but we've got the superior clock here, and we've got tons of removal. What you got? Death Touch guy? Skin Witch. Ugh, that's fine. Guess I'm losing land here. Might be time to deal with this thing. Getting kind of low. We've already used Dark Bargain though, so we don't have anything else that directly damages us. And I can flash in the Sentinel to deal with the Calico. I could menace this out. Yeah, let's just keep the pressure on. Our opponent has to stop attacking sometime soon. See if our opponent has anything to confess here. They probably sense a... No, we lose our Sentinel, but they get to see the bad news. All 3 removal spells in hand. They probably sensed a fungal infection for some time, always holding up black, and they saw 3 of them in the last game. Still attacking. We do have lethal if we can kill the 1 blocker. We probably have 2. In which case, we could use the Deep Freeze on the second one. We can still block, but eh. Alright, that guy... Okay, if we find a Vicious Mockery... No, we need another land. Yeah, I'll be 1 damage short. So, no sense in using the fungal just yet. 2 fungal, though. Why don't we get you down? I can use 1 fungal to kill him off. I could also just use 2 on the sentry. They have 1 card left. Yeah, let's kill that guy. Shrink him down. Finish him off with a fungal infection. After blocks are declared. Turn force a trade with the stupid Skin Witch. Unless they have like a Sarah's Wings or whatever to get a lot of lifelink somehow, I think we're going to be okay here. Finish you off. Made sure to cast the non-foily one, since they knew about 1, they won't know about the second one, I hope. Dark Bargain. Okay, bargain away. We've got 3 lethal attackers and a removal spell in hand. Whisper. That's not going to do it. We will prevail. That'll do it. So that was an extraordinarily fun draft. I hope that we got to showcase some fun cards. Mirari, Conjecture. Sadly, Rona did not come up very often at all, despite having 2 of her. So that was kind of a letdown. I was hoping to buy back Josu Vess and Conjecture more than once, but it just wasn't to be. We got to play against a, I'd say, mid-range, an aggro, and a control deck. So kind of a wide taste of the field, and every color represented, I think. So that was fun. Thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate it, and stay tuned for more videos.